I'm having a bit of a obsession with water fountains and bird baths these days. So this is the first bird bath that I built. It's self-contained. The lower pot is a big flower pot or planter pot with no holes at the bottom. And then that gray band there is actually the saucer that fits below it and acts as a perfect lid. And I've got a few holes drilled into the lid, and there's a aquarium filter or pond filter that is fit to that basin, and then the concrete platter is just the right depth for the birds to go in quite happily, and you don't need to add a bunch of rocks. This rock here is basically just to dampen the flow of the pump so it doesn't shoot up in the air and into their feathers. They don't seem to mind it anyways, but anyway, so that's the bird bath, and that gets cleaned on a regular basis because of course they make a bit of a mess in there. Even though the filter picks up most of the debris, it's still good to keep the water clean and fresh. Okay, so this is a pump so this one here is a build that's brand new and is going to be for my brother. It's a combination fountain bird bath, and that's what the pond filter looks like, and that fits on the top basin there that will hold the platter. I'm going to be using winter stone material to build the new platters, and there's all the components for the structure, as well as the pump and the tubing all fits inside, and then you cover it up with your catch basin, and then you can store it for the winter. So my next build was this one. And this is, I call it my Dr. Seuss fountain. So again, self-contained. The water recirculates. The platters are kind of staggered. And there's some glass rocks or whatever they're called embedded into the concrete. This is just a fountain. It's not a bird bath, not intended to be, because otherwise it would have to be cleaned and changed on a regular basis too. And then there's just some ornamental rocks, and this one has a copper pipe leading up, and this pipe here was really long, and what I liked about it was it had an end on it, and it was rounded instead of squared off or flattened. And then I drilled a hole under it so that the water comes running out like a tap. And then I brazed the two ends together where I cut off about 3 inches so that it doesn't stick out as much. And this is my final build. This is an electric fountain, and the bird bath is also an electric fountain as well. And these are both voice controlled, so I can ask Siri to shut them off. Let me just try that here. Hey Siri, turn off the fountain. Hey Siri, turn on the fountain. There we go. All right, so again, self-contained. And I picked up these rocks on a path that I ride my bike on. And I like the jagged look. I wanted something more jagged instead of round to build this up into a little bit of a structure. And then I took some moss from the yard and stuffed and glued that into the gaps, and then there's a little bit of a grotto effect underneath there. Now the one thing that is happening is I'm going to be getting rid of the concrete basins that I made. I don't like them, they're a bit too jagged, and I'm getting this modeling compound from Sculpture Supply called Winterstone, and it's much lighter than the concrete. This whole thing with the water filled up to the top is over 70 pounds, so it's a bit much to move and to clean if necessary. So I'm going to lighten things up and just make it look a little bit nicer too. I don't mind the concrete, but I think it can be improved upon, so why not? Let's do it. And this, I think, is my favorite fountain. Be interesting to see if the birds go in it. I think the next reiteration of this basin here that I'm going to make will be a little bit deeper, and then it'll pool a little bit more water than it currently does. But it seems to be okay like that. I like it. It definitely creates a little bit of a ripple effect, so that's all I was looking for. And of course the sound is lovely. Just hearing the water running is just great.